Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. I am Michelle Hazen, and I'll be your celebrant this morning. I am a lifelong Unitarian Universalist. I was born of a mother who decided to raise me and my other siblings in the Unitarian Universalist Church, and I am a mother myself. Happy Mother's Day. I'd like to extend a special welcome to all of those who are here to join us for the first time. We are very glad that you are here. If you've come in person, we hope you have received a welcome packet with an information card in it. If you haven't had one yet, please ask following the service. Fill that out and put it in the offering basket or drop it off at the church office. If you're joining us online, there's a link on our website to an electronic version of the same card. Our welcoming committee members have yellow name tags and can answer any questions or point you toward additional information. Whether you are new or not, please consider staying for coffee and conversation after this service, either downstairs in our fellowship hall or in our Zoom room. If you'd prefer someplace a little quieter, you can also grab a beverage and head to the minister's office, which is on the ground floor, last door on the left, where a member of our worship team will host a smaller gathering. We want everyone to feel supported and at home here. And now, let's say our words of welcome together. Whether this is your first or your 1000th Sunday with us, and whether you strolled, rolled, Zoomed, ran, or danced in, we are glad you chose to join us. We are one people of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders. All are welcome here. Now we'll take a moment to say hello across the technical divide. First, we're going to show the folks on Zoom. If you're at home, go ahead and wave. And now, if you're attending the service here in our building, wave to our folks at home. It's our turn. We have a handful of announcements this morning. So, Kat Clancy.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Clancy, Kat. I am the coordinator for our coffee hour after church. I just wanted to make a couple of announcements this morning. Over much of the winter and into the spring, we tried to make 2 pots of coffee because we were running out after 50 cups. But mostly we ended up throwing out that extra coffee. So about a month ago, we stopped making the second pot. There is instant coffee, and there are also coffee bags, like tea bags, that you can use if the pot runs out. And we did make extra coffee today because it's Mother's Day. In the summer, which we're approaching, coffee hour attendance often drops anyway, so we'll continue probably to make just 50 cups, but we'll monitor it to see if we need to start making more coffee, we will. But we need to know that we're going to use it. Also, I wanted to let you know that the sign-up genius for coffee hours for the Sundays all through the summer is now out there. This is your opportunity to pick the Sunday of your choice that you'd like to come and make coffee and do cleanup afterwards. The sign-up genius is normally on the updates on Fridays, and it's also on the church's website under volunteer opportunities. Thank you.
And Jim has an announcement.
So a huge thank you to everyone who came together and made a Renaissance Fair a success. It was a wonderful weekend, despite me in the booth. And we raised over $2,000 for the World Central Kitchen. But in my mind, more important than the money that we managed to raise was all the people who came by and thanked us for being at the fair, continuing to be at the fair, selling black bean burritos, and also asking questions about our church, where we were, how to learn more. Sam, it turns out, has a huge fan out there. One kid only wanted to come and meet Sam, so he might even be here. So I told him where to find him. And then finally, I would be remiss if I didn't thank all the people on the Ren Fair committee, starting with, I'll start with myself, and then Heidi Becker, Melissa Luna, David Nelson, but most important was Patricia Jessup. She worked the hardest by far of all of us. So please give it up for Patricia.
We have 10 new chairs with arms. One of them is exposed here on this end. I could not get beige chairs. So yes, they are a different color, but that will be easier for you to see them. We had a request over the winter, especially from the group of seniors that met. It's kind of a small group. It was a group about aging. The chairs with arms are very helpful to some people, not just seniors. The arms help some people get up and down into a chair. Since they're a different color, they'll be a little easier for everyone to see. But I'm going to put a wide silver ribbon on the back of all the chairs with arms. So even as we're seated, it will be easy to see where the chairs with arms are. I'd like us all to learn to be mindful that chairs with arms may not be for all of us. Think about it. Thank you. With love.
The day has arrived that you have all been waiting for when we have the drawing for this quilt. It will be after the service. There will be opportunity to buy more raffle tickets if you have not already done so. And hey, if you're online, give us a call.
Here end the announcements. The land on which our church is built is part of the ancestral homeland of the Nimi Poo, the people, and mistakenly called the Nez Perce, or Pierced Noses, by French-speaking trappers and traders. We acknowledge the land is held in sacred kinship since time immemorial. The land and its peoples suffered immeasurable trauma brought by Euro-American society, and we are working with its resilient peoples to show respect and to contribute to the healing and nurturing of this hated sweet Waitus, precious land and all its people. We're hoping the folks on Zoom have a chalice or candle to light and something to light us with. Let's light our chalices together. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek and seek to share.
Forgot to write opening words. I guess I get to model imperfection. Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Stevens, and I'm lucky enough that I get to serve this congregation as its minister. This morning's service revolves around the possibility, or even the inevitability, of the existence of unconditional love. Now, unconditional love is not perfect love. It's love that sees imperfection and accepts them. It's love that embraces all, good, bad, and indifferent. And it's a love that we can aspire to, though we may not ever get there. It's sort of an asymptotic approach, right? Because we're human. So that's what we're going to be reflecting on this morning. What? Asymptotic? It's a math word. I'm sorry. My geek is showing. It means so an asymptote is a curve that gets closer and closer to a particular line without actually ever touching it. All right. So that's going to have to do. That's what I got. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit to join in our opening hymn, When I Am Frightened. Thank you. And now I'll invite I'm going to set the place on fire today. I invite you now into the spirit, to sink into the spirit of meditation or prayer. This is a piece called Those Who Gave Us Life by my friend and colleague, Linda Hart. From where have we come, this breath, these fingers, a heart that opens and closes, opens and closes? What is it that has made this body, feet and legs, hair and teeth? We come into consciousness in the middle of the story. The world and its vast life reaches far before we knew and grasps at the future that we cannot see. And here we are, living these days, for better or for worse. Whatever acts of chance occurred to bring us to birth, whatever happenstance laid this particular path for our lives, in these moments of calm and stillness, let our hearts open in gratitude for the gifts we found along the way, for love given sweet and free, for the peace of the morning and the warm colors of the sunset, for the grace of companions and moments of ongoing birth as our hearts are renewed, and for those who've offered us the gift of mothering, no matter their age or gender, those who have tended and cared, who have offered support and comfort, who have companioned us, those who have given us life by birth or by their presence in our lives. Recognizing the grief that often comes with such memories, let us open in compassion for our broken hearts, for lost mothers, mothers who could not love us as we needed, mothers who abandoned us, and especially for those whose longing for children was never met. In the stillness of these moments, I invite you to speak aloud the names of those who have given you life, who have companioned you, who are held in your heart this day. Amen, and blessed be. So our first reading this morning comes from Ram Dass, Be Loved Now, the Path of the Heart. Imagine feeling more love from someone than you have ever known. You're being loved even more than your mother loved you when you were an infant, more than you were ever loved by your father, your child, or your most intimate lover, anyone. And this lover doesn't need anything from you, isn't looking for personal gratification, and only wants your complete fulfillment. You are loved just for being who you are, just for existing. You don't have to do anything to earn it. Your shortcomings, your lack of self-esteem, physical perfection, or social and economic success, none of that matters. No one can take this love away from you, and it will always be here. Imagine that being in this love is like relaxing endlessly into a warm bath that surrounds and supports your every movement, so that every thought and feeling is permeated by it. You feel as though you are dissolving into love. This love is actually a part of you. It's always flowing through you. It's like the subatomic texture of the universe, the dark matter that connects everything. When you tune into that flow, you will feel it in your own heart. Not your physical heart or your emotional heart, but your spiritual heart. The place you point to in your chest when you say, I am. Our second reading is Love is a Place by E.E. Cummings. Love is a place, and through this place of love, move with brightness and peace, all places. Yes is a world, and in this world of yes, live skillfully curled all worlds. Now, I've said before that we get to choose our beliefs based on what we find helpful. Beliefs don't have to be correct. They don't have to be factual. And by definition, they can't be. They can't be verified. But the beliefs we choose can help us lead fuller, more joyful and productive and compassionate lives. The choice to believe that we're held by love in every moment of our lives, that there's a love holding us and all that we love, the choice to believe that we're known and accepted fully, loved unconditionally, in my book, it's a pretty good option, especially when we take it to the next level and choose to also believe that our job is to keep working at loving one another just as comprehensively. Our first teachers in the practice of love, of course, are our parents. If we're lucky, they wrapped us up and rocked us and sang us lullabies. I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. If we were lucky, they responded to our needs and cared for us. They accepted us wholeheartedly and supported us as we grew and became whoever we were meant to be. Unfortunately, most of us are not that lucky. We get people for parents rather than saints. They held a convention for adult children of functional families, and no one came. But seriously, parenting is hard. I love my children with an almost unimaginable fierceness, but it's also part of the job to civilize them, right? You have to give them structure. They need expectations and boundaries. They need to face consequences when their actions cause harm, and it's really tricky to hold that tension between unconditional acceptance and love and accountable relationship. And as if that weren't enough, our entire society is set up to indoctrinate us all into the belief that love is something we have to earn by being better, working harder, making ourselves more beautiful. As Parker Palmer, the Quaker author, educator, and activist, puts it in his book, Let Your Life Speak, we arrive in this world with birthright gifts. Then we spend the first half of our lives abandoning them or letting others disabuse us of them. As young people, we're surrounded by expectations that may have little to do with who we really are. expectations held by people who are not trying to discern our selfhood, but to fit us into slots. In families, schools, workplaces, and religious communities, we're trained away from true self toward images of acceptability. Under social pressures like racism and sexism, our original shape is deformed beyond recognition, and we ourselves, driven by fear, too often betray true self to gain the approval of others. We are disabused of original giftedness in the first half of our lives, and then, if we are awake, aware, and able to admit our loss, we spend that second half trying to recover and reclaim the gift we once possessed. So what's your attitude toward your own lovableness? I'll share a quick story. I was sitting at a table with some colleagues a few years ago, and we got to talking about how we respond to loving critique from our congregants. And my friend Eric said, I just assume that everyone loves me, and if it turns out they don't, I just say, what's wrong with them? My friend Tracy said, I need to spend more time with you, because when someone doesn't love me, I start to wonder what's wrong with me. And then I chimed in, well, that's still better than what I do. When someone does love me, I wonder what's wrong with them. And I was just kidding, but not entirely. There have been times when that really has been my reaction, and I hope I'm not the only one. Now, I've come a long way, especially in the past decade and a half, in part because I've been so well loved by all of you. When a whole community of amazing, kind, honest, admirable people seems to think that you are not just okay, but they even look to you kind of as a leader, it gets harder to hide from your lovability. But to be honest, the shift started before I came to Moscow. I was working with a really wonderful therapist, Dr. James Buskirk, and we'd been talking a lot about this core belief that I had, that I was fundamentally unlovable. We'd gotten to the root of it, which had to do with my parents' imperfect parenting, no surprises, and I'd shared with Dr. Buskirk the story my grandmother used to tell me, the grandmother who came closest to embodying unconditional love in my early life. See, my mom loved to tell stories about what a hard and difficult baby I'd been. How I cried and cried and cried, and nothing she tried would help, and sometimes she just got so overwhelmed she'd stick me in my buggy and put me out on the porch and leave me there. My grandmother, who I called Grandmarie, would shake her head every time she heard that story, and then she'd find a time later to tell me, you were not a hard baby. I knew just what you needed. I would wrap you up so tight you couldn't move a toe, and you would calm right down. So back to Dr. Buskirk. The turning point came on a day when I was actually trying to fire him. Our finances were tight, he didn't accept insurance, and he just sat back, took off his glasses, and quietly let me know that typically this was a decision that the therapist and the client would make together, with some deliberation. And then he looked at me and he said, I feel like I want to wrap you up so tight you can't move a toe. And something cracked open. I felt this rush of unconditional love coming through Dr. Buskirk, but it was so much bigger than that one person. It was as if the whole universe, or dare I use the word God, were singing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. Long as I'm living, my baby, you'll be. Oh, yeah. We gotta agree on that. Okay, thank you. Wrapped up so tight I couldn't move a toe. Nothing I could do, nothing I could say, nothing that could happen would or could separate me from that love. And I think that's where it starts. That experience of being held and loved by the universe, by God, by our own self, is what enables us to begin on begin to work on offering ourselves unconditional love. That's confusing. Okay. So the experience of being held and loved helps us offer ourselves unconditional love, right? Right. Okay, and that's the primary relationship we have to cultivate, which is why the Buddhist metta practice, the loving kindness meditation we went through last week, it always starts with offering the prayer in first person. May I be happy, may I be well, may I be filled with loving kindness. Now, of course, the difference between conditional and unconditional love is that conditional love is something we have to earn, right? So to experience unconditional self-love, we have to stop believing that we have to earn our self-love by being perfect or better. We have to allow lovability to be our default, our non-negotiable, to feel like solid ground. Without the capacity to love and accept ourselves, warts and all, we'll be unhappy. No amount of success or affirmation will fill that hole inside us if we don't believe we're worthy. With it, though, when we do love ourselves unconditionally, our lives unfold from a place of power and grace. We walk in beauty with gratitude. It feels important to name, though, that our self-love isn't perfect, right? Perfect and unconditional are two different things. Perfect love doesn't exist, even when we have an inside track. To love ourselves unconditionally means we forgive ourselves for those moments when we love ourselves imperfectly, when we're unkind to ourselves. It also means embracing all of our imperfections. We need to stop beating ourselves up, shoulding all over ourselves. Now, when we do, this natural process of growing and becoming unfolds effortlessly, a process that isn't about grit or discipline, but believing that we deserve to be happy and well. Self-love gets to be messy. If making our self-love conditional, something that we have to earn, keeps us from happiness, making our love of others conditional is downright toxic. We cause real harm when we choose to believe that our love is something that other people have to earn by doing what we want them to. Control and coercion are the enemies of love. And don't get me wrong, I understand the temptation. Sometimes I think my life would flow ever so much smoothly if everyone would just do what I tell them to. The world would certainly be a better place. If I were in charge, we'd do away with hate and greed and oppression. The government would understand its function to be creating support systems that allow all people to flourish. There would be no more war. We'd use all that money to work on environmental sustainability. And that's not how it works, right? And we wouldn't want it to work that way because maybe I'm the one who gets to be in charge, but maybe someone else gets to be in charge and they don't share my values, and we know what that feels like, right? I don't want to be controlled or coerced. That means I don't get to control or coerce others. I'm the only person I get to control. I'm the only person whose behavior I can change, which doesn't mean I don't have influence. I set limits. I can offer advice and feedback. I can share feelings and reactions. I can inspire and lead by example. People are changed by their relationships, which means that what I do and say matters. It also means everyone around me has influence over me. Every single human being has something to teach us. We're changed by love, and we change the world with our love, but it is a very slow and messy process. Sometimes the people who are hardest for us to love have the most to teach us. Anthony DeMello writes in his book, The Way to Love, this is how you do it. Every time you find yourself irritated or angry with someone, the one to look at is not that person, but yourself. First, look into the very real possibility that the reason why this person's defects or so-called defects annoy you is that you have them in yourself, but you've repressed them and are projecting them unconsciously onto the other. This is almost always true. Search for this person's defects in your own heart, and your annoyance will turn to gratitude that his or her behavior has led you to self-discovery. Another thing is also clear. You become irritated with this person because he or she is not living up to the expectations that have been programmed into you. And maybe you have a right to demand that people live up to your programming, as for instance, when someone is cruel or unjust. But then stop to consider this. In most cases, you have no right to demand that any other person live up to your expectations. Just contemplate this truth, and your irritation will vanish. And here is a final truth. Given the background, the life experience, and the unawareness of this person, he or she cannot help behaving this way. To understand all is to forgive all. When you really understand a person, you see him or her as crippled and not blameworthy, and your irritation instantly ceases. And the next thing you know, you're treating everyone with love, and people are responding with love, and you find yourself living in a loving world which you have yourself created. Greed and hate and tribalism, the roots that feed oppression and injustice, are all flavors of fear. Greed grows from a fear of scarcity. Hatred springs from a fear of the other. Tribalism is rooted in a fear of abandonment. And one thing we know about fear is that it doesn't respond well to logic. We don't reason when we are scared. So to move forward, to be in relationship with the people whose behavior we are hoping might shift toward love, we need to address those underlying fears. If we can cultivate a sense of abundance, people might stop clinging to greed. If we can cultivate familiarity, relationships, the other becomes known. Hate gets a lot harder. No one can hate someone face to face. Tribalism melts away as we invite others into the circle of community, offering them that sense of belonging they're so hungry for. And this is where the path of unconditional love leads us. And when we choose to follow that path, we affirm that every person matters. Our liberation is bound together. No one gets left behind. It is not easy. Loving people is hard work, whether it's your blood family or your church family. In The Restless Heart, Roland Rolheiser, a Catholic theologian and writer, says, only 3 types of persons think that real love is easy: those who are already saints, who through long years of painful practice have made love a habit; manipulators who have confused their own self-gratification with genuine love; and unrealistic dreamers who do not know what they are talking about. Tainted as we are by our own self-concern, genuine love is very hard to attain, and especially to sustain. Humans see insult where none is intended. We rarely feel accepted just as we are. We get self-conscious. Those inner voices of perfectionism and the cultural voices trying to convince us that we need to be more or different can drown out love's voice in our hearts, which is why we have to come here, so that we can listen together, so that we can relax into that sense of the love that holds us, so that our hearts can open again. So that our hearts can open and we can love ourselves better. Our hearts can open and we can love one another and the world more fully. The power of religious community is that it offers an abundance of opportunities to practice loving. There are so many perfectly imperfect people here for you to love, who will perfectly, imperfectly love you back. So no, love isn't always easy, but in the end analysis, it's the only work worth doing. We are the way, the dream of unconditional love we might choose to name God, takes on flesh and blood. We are flawed, but willing vessels. Our job here is to practice embodying unconditional love for each other, to practice offering love freely without conditions, releasing any desire to control or coerce, to practice refraining from changing others, to practice letting go of our expectations, accepting and admiring each other just as we are. Now, it's been my privilege to embody unconditional love to the very best of my ability with and for all of you for 14 of the best years of my life. And you know what? Here it comes. I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as you're living, my people you'll be. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. You get it already. You know the truth that our power for healing and good rests in the act of loving and in the experience of being loved. You love each other with so much skill and generosity, it just leaves me speechless. As Unitarian Universalists, together, we choose to believe that we are all born and embraced. We are all born embraced by unconditional love. We choose to believe we live and move and have our being embraced by that same love, even and most especially in those moments when we feel alone. We choose to believe that we're called to embody love as best we can for ourselves and for one another. That's what it means to put love at the center. So be it, and so may it be. Let's sing together, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
Most of all, we
Oops, sorry. So many opportunities to model imperfection. Our closing reading is Love Abides by Barbara Peskin. Often we are found in our grief and comforted, calmed by some kindness, brought alive again by beauty that catches us undefended. Even when the sun is most thin and far, even at the hour the storm is at its height, we can go through. Renewal rests within sorrow. Love abides, even beyond anger, beyond death. We are held in an embrace, invisible but infinite, moving with all creation between wholeness and fragmentation, moving always toward the one. Small joys and great sorrows pass, and we, with steps uncertain, move on to whatever is next, but continually seen, heard, held by life, infinite and remote, intimate and abiding. Love, do not let us go. Please rise in body or spirit and join in our musical benediction, There is a Love. Please join me in the words to embody our chalice flame. We extinguish this chalice that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light our paths as we leave this place. May it guide our way until we are together again. So I get it that a lot of us in this room can't believe in God, even the God that is unconditional love. That's why it's so important that we love each other so fiercely, right? Because if there's not something bigger and vaster and mysterious there, if this is all there is, then we're the ones who have to make that fabric so strong that no one ever questions that they are loved, that they are accepted, that they're not alone. That's why you're so good at it. I love you so much. Go in peace. Come back next Sunday.